Ironwood Games. This is Andrew. Thanks for joining me again. We're going to do I think a Kaldheim Quick Draft today and see what we get. Before we get started, we'll do a little plug. Welcome to YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. You know how it goes. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. We cover other video games as well. We'd love to get your feedback. Like the video if you enjoy it, and then leave us comments of, what you thought about our picks, how we did, and, generally ways to improve, what you'd like to see, any of that stuff. All right, let's jump right in. All Runs Epiphany. Create 2 1/1 bird creature tokens with flying. Take an extra turn after this one. So extra turns is always fun. Poison the Cup, I think, is my favorite foretell card. And I'm tempted to take it just because I play blue a bit and I'd like to kind of stay out of blue. Force myself maybe somewhere else. Looking through the other cards we have, Provoke the Trolls is an interesting card. I don't think a good first pick. Same with Rootless U. Can be okay. I wouldn't mind taking Poison the Cup first. Shackles is fine. This Tormentor's Helm is good. Good things here. So, if we wanted to go like blue-white foretell, I think this would be a really good card. As far as removal, this is, I think, one of the best removal cards, the best foretell card. And I think Alrund's Epiphany is a bit more of an investment than Poison the Cup. So we're going to do that. For a couple of reasons, again, like I said, trying to force myself outside of blue, where I tend to gravitate and feel like it's something I'm familiar with and safe. Runed Crown seems interesting. I haven't played with the runes a lot. I don't know if it goes into... Oh, excuse me. Oh, had a sneeze. Okay. I don't know if it goes into black very well. And I really do like the Hoggy Mob. Open the Omen Paths at 2 mana of any one color and 2 mana of any other color. Spends only to cast creature or enchantment spells. That seems pretty good. Let's take the Runed Crown and kind of see. I think there's some other good red cards. This is a fine green-white. This is fine in green. White's got some interesting things. We're not committed to anything at this point, and I'd like to see what we get. Each creature, if a creature dealt with Crush the Weak, is definitely a good spell. Deals damage to everybody. Infernal Pet is good. Village Rites is okay. Some good red still coming through this way. Some decent green, and the whites, not bad, but we're going to take this Crush the Weak. Frostpire Arcanist is the giant, one of the giant spells. Wants to be in blue-red instants and sorceries, which I don't know that I love. Skemfar Elderhall. One target creature you don't control gets -2/-2. Create 2 1/1 green elf warrior tokens. Is interesting. I think I'm going to take the Frostbite just as a damage dealing spell, and a card that I do like. Ooh, Vega is nice. If we had taken that Alrund's, we would definitely like a Vega to get into that blue-white foretold. It still might be something we can pick up here and do. I like Sorulf's Packmate, but I'm, again, not that I can't, but I going to try and prioritize things over blue-green. Demon Bolt seems pretty good. In red, which we're a little bit in already here. And we got Sfella Ice Shaper, which is green-red. It creates Icy Manoliths, which would fix some color, would let us splash that black. And that does look kind of good. I think we're going to take the Demon Bolt as a foretell card. Something if Svella somehow wheels and maybe green's still open and we end up in red-green, that's fine. So here we're looking at, we've got Mirror Lake, which I'm not in at all. Vault Robber can be good. Hoggy Mob is great. The Infernal Pet, I think, is probably the best of the three of those. Although Vault Robber is not bad, I think Infernal Pet is just something that has to be dealt with. Hoggy Mob, I think, is something that's a little easier to pick up than Infernal Pet. I could be wrong on that, but that's just my impression of it. Okay, we're getting some good things. We could pick up the Snow-Covered Mountain for, like, Frostbite, but there's plenty of other cards that are considerable. I don't think this Underseas Invader is any reason to go into green. Broken Wings, not any reason, or blue, sorry. Broken Wings and Glittering Frost, not worth going into green, and that's not worth going into white. We do have the Death Knell Berserker, which is a pretty good card. The Fearless Pup, which is a great card, and the Shackles of Treachery, which is another good card. I think we'll take the Fearless Pup. I wouldn't be sad with any of those three. Or even that Snow-Covered Mountain would have been kind of okay. The Trickster God's Heist is good. I don't know if I want to splash blue for it. It's a fine card. I think we have so many other things that would like definitely go in our deck and help shape it out. And I think, I thought this was a giant here, because I'm going to say Squash is really good. Much better if you've got giants to go with it. I think we'll take the Kennel Master. Oh, here we got some good stuff coming around. I'm going to take the pick. I think any of these would kind of be fine picks and would go. I'm taking the pick just for the chance that we do end up with some more equipment, enchantment matters with some of the red stuff. Oh, of course, the Tormentor's Helm could be just as good, if not better, than the pick. Sure, we'll take the Tormentor's Helm, in that it's a little bit cheaper to get on the field. It doesn't ramp us and do that, but we don't really need fixing right now. So I do think it is a better card. So here's where, again, we say we see a Haggy Mob we could get. An Immerstern Rider is good. I think I'm going to take this, open the Omen Paths, as it does let us early play into a big creature or something. And do that here. I think we'll take the Funeral Longboat, as nothing else is good for us or gonna really do anything that we are interested in. We'll take Demonic Gifts. I'm going to put it in the sideboard. I don't know that I want to run it. And we'll take the Raven Wing. Same thing into the sideboard. I think it's a close call. but I'd rather not run either of those. And here we did get a Death Knell Berserker back. This is the card I was thinking of. Again, it's a 2/2 if its power is 3 or greater. When it dies, which the couple of enchantments or artifacts equipment let us do, that card does become pretty good. Reflections of Lijar. When you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. Ooh, that's fun. Not really what we're in. And so kind of a hard sell when we've got Death Knell Berserker, which did wheel around last time. So I'm thinking the red might be a little bit more important for us. I think I'll take the Provoke the Trolls. I haven't played with it, and I think it looks interesting. I'd like to try it out a little bit, see what it does. Priest of the Haunted Edge is really good. I think it's better than this Valkyrie. I think the Valkyrie is a little overcosted for what you get out of it. The number of times it's actually been good for me versus could be good is far and is a bigger gap than I'd like it to be. Jarl is also interesting in that it can finish things off. Priest really wants to be in Snowlands, which I haven't picked up any of, and I may not. So for that reason, I'm going to take the Jarl. If I already had some Snowlands from some late picks or some times I could have gotten something, might have considered that more. Skimfar, I think it's fine. I've heard some decent criticism about it. But I would still consider it. But I want to look at this black-red here. You may sacrifice a creature when you do Carter's Vicious Return, deals 3 damage. Each player discards a card. Return target creature card from your graveyard. It gains haste until your next turn. So that definitely seems like an interesting saga. I think a lot of the sagas are good. I like this Bloodsky Berserker. I haven't gotten to play with him. Plays into the second spell, which some of the Foretell, here we go, the Infernal Pet does as well. Some of the other Foretell cards that I have also let you play into that archetype. Power it up. The Tuscari Firewalker is interesting, as well as the Craven Hulk, but I think the Berserker is just grows and is again another thing that has to be dealt with. Interesting, but we're not in the blue to get that. I love Inga, but we're definitely not in the blue there. I think Shackles is better than Run Amok. Although I like them both, I'm going to take Shackles. Shackles is really good with things like Carters or the other black spells that have you sacrifice things. Here, we've got a Dread Rider, which is fine, but I think overpriced and not great. This Skull Cairn, it enters tapped, it adds black, sacrifice, deal 3 damage to target player, and then they discard a card. I think as a finisher, as a late game play, I think that's a good card. The only thing we're really giving up for it is Dread Rider or Seize the Spoils, and I think it's better than both of those in what we're doing at the very least. So we've got here Dwarven Reinforcements or Dogged Pursuit. Demonic Gifts is not worth consideration. If we had earlier seen these with our Ruined Crown, we might end up moving more into that level with those things there. I don't know if we want which of these we want. We've seen one more of these, and I haven't seen any of the Dogged Pursuits, and I'm going to take that. I think it is... Oh, it's hard, though, because this one is a Foretell, and does let us play with our mana more efficiently. And then we can go wide and do that. So we're going to take the Dwarven Reinforcements. Hope that doesn't leave a feel bad later on. We could get an Elderfang Disciple, a Cinderheart Giant. Is really just a good curve topper. Is a trampling 7/6. It's a giant, so it does give us for squash, if we pick up more squashes, some things. I don't dislike the Death Knell Berserker or the Elderfang or these other black cards, but I want to top the curve with something interesting. And here we can pick up a Death Knell. Smashing Success I don't think is worth it. Would be a sideboard card. Without the Death Knell, I might consider another equipment. I don't need a ton of equipment. In this build, it's not really looking for equipment. Here we'll take a Hoggy Mob. Just a good card. Don't mind having those. Here's that Village Rites that does play well with a Shackles. So for 4 mana, we get to take their creature, hit them with their creature, and then sacrifice it to draw some cards. I don't need a third Death Knell. I'd rather have the Village Rites. We'll take 2 of those. None of these matter to me. We'll take Seize the Spoils. I don't think it makes it. Ooh, the Dogged Pursuit did come back. So black is undervalued in this draft with these bots, it seems like. We're a little bit over as far as cards and what we need. So we can be judicious about what we pick. Let's see what our... Yeah, we're low on creatures, which I know we did take some removal and other things over that. So we could take Wither Crown as, again, more removal. We could take Demon Bolt as more removal. We could take Vault Robber as a creature. We could take the rare just for the collection. We could take the Snow-Covered Mountain for things like Frostbite. We don't have a bunch that needs snow, and I think that's a bad prioritization there. I'm going to take the Wither Crown just because it can be a decision for our opponents and make them have to at least choose something here. The Dwarven Reinforcements, again, even though it's a sorcery, it does count as a creature, so we have to go back and kind of check some of those things that maybe don't look like creatures but technically count. I like it here again. It helps out with things like Skimfar Shadow Sage in giving us common creature types. I think we're going to take it here, and again, if black is underdrafted, maybe that comes back. I like the Mystic Reflection just as a card. I want to build a standard deck that uses that looks interesting, but I don't need it. I think we'll try and smooth out our deck, give us some options here. This pack is getting really interesting as there's lots of good options. We could get the Fearless Liberator. Again, goes into playing the Dwarven things, which helps with all of our sacrifice and other effects. I really do like this Vicious Return. I think, though, that this is more likely to wield than the Liberator. I think the Liberator gives us a creature and helps smooth out the deck a little bit more. Here, we might take this just for fixing, in that we don't really need another big giant. We don't really need another 5-drop, and we don't need the Dread Rider. Creatures are nice, but we'll get a little bit of the fixing and some snow here to do it here. Again, we've got an option of a Dread Rider. We've got a Golden Pickaxe. We've got the Tormentor's Helm. Which would be better than the Runed Crown that we're currently... Oop, come on, get out of here. Considering, so I think we could pick that up, or we could get the Firewalker for some extra draw. With all of our removal, that could be interesting. You know, to get a draw that Frostbite or a Poison or a Demon Bolt and clear off the battlefield. It's also a creature, but we have plenty in the 3 area. I'm going to take the Trader's Helm and see what we get here. Again, lots of options. We could take the Dwarven Reinforcements, but I have 2 of those. I think the Frostbite is interesting. If we had picked up extra Frostbites early, we could prioritize the Snowlands a little bit more. I think we'll pick up Squash. Again, we'll have plenty of options here. The Carders did return. Wheel did come back to us. Of course, we do have a Way Down, another Squash. I think this is still just a good card. We'll get some redundancy in here, and we'll see. I think we'll take another Open the Omen Paths with a little bit of the go wide strategy. That seems fine. The Vault Robber could be interesting, but I think... And again, all these don't necessarily make the deck. We'll take Immerstrand just to have some more options for creatures of what we want to look at. The same thing with the Vault Robber. Here. I'll take the Dread Rider. I'm going to put him in the side. I really don't think he makes the deck. Same thing here. None of that really matters. Just taking some cards to get through the end of this. Okay, so we've got quite a bit of cutting to do. I think with our 2/1s, the Longboat, while interesting, is just not worth it as far as what we might want to cut for non-creatures. It technically can count as a creature, but I'd rather just keep the creatures that we have, I think. I'd rather have either of these guys than necessarily those. Let's see. Shackles can count. We can count it as a creature, in a sense. And the 2 Dwarven Reinforcements we can count as creatures. So we can say we have 15 creatures on that. And I think that's good with our removal. We're not needing a bunch. Squash might go because I don't think we have enough giants to run it. And we have a lot of other ways cheaper to deal some damage. So Squash is going to go. And we are doing a little bit better here. The other option, we have 2 of the Tormentor's Helms. We could cut some of those. We could cut Dogged Pursuit. But I feel like we're trying to go a little bit longer and stretch this out. And that's something that lets us finish off our opponents once we get into a stall. I like Poison the Cup, Crush the Weak, Demon Bolt. We could cut and open the Omen Paths. I think we'll cut Seize the Spoils as a probably less good card. If that's what we're relying on to have a good hand, then that's not a good hand. If we draw it late and we don't have anything else, it doesn't do anything. Where some of these other ones we can at least foretell. and this at least has a go wide strategy here. I think we're going to get rid of 1 village rights since we only have the 1 shackles. If we had more shackles and we were going to try and do that more often, maybe. Otherwise, early on, we can use this to draw into some things. We can use it to get rid of a token creature. It's got some options, but it doesn't do enough to be worth having 2 of them. We only have the 1 snow land, so Frostbite is just a shock. It doesn't target a player, which is the same thing we have with Demon Bolt and Crush the Weak, so we don't have a lot of like player damage, which is why we want to get and drag the game out to be able to finish things off. Haggy Mob definitely lets us do that as well. I really want to cut a Frostbite. And I'm tempted to cut a Tormentor's Helm. This shows where I just haven't played the black-red archetype enough to really know what I want to cut or what makes sense. Provoke the Trolls could be, like for our Giant, could be a game-winning play. Yeah, with Carter's Vicious Return, cutting that Village Rights is fine. Jarl seems good. I really do like Wither Crown. So I think we're going to cut a Frostbite and a Tormentor's Helm. Having too many of those, I think, feels bad, is going to be a problematic. Let's look at what we've got here. So we've still got about 15 creatures, and we'll say 13 non-creatures since we're considering some of those in the other direction. So probably again about cutting some of our non-creature spells. Creature removal, creature removal, creature removal, creature removal, maybe creature removal, creature removal, creature removal. So we do have a lot of removal, which isn't bad in getting into the late game. So I think we'll get rid of a Vault Robber. If we've got ways to deal with the early creatures, we don't mind getting rid of some of the less good things. He lets us generate out some creatures. I think he lets us draw is fine. So open the Omen Paths. On turn 3, we could get like a 4-drop into a Vicious Return, dropping something that's not good, Dogged Pursuit, or later it does ramp into some things. I think we'll cut 1. I think if this let us cast a 5-drop on turn 3, that would be a lot better. Don't want to lose any of these creatures. And this is where we run into, what do I cut? 3 more things. Let's say 14, 12. I feel like this is just too good to cut. All of these seem good, and I want to be doing things with these. These are all finishers of sorts. Jarl with like Hoggy Mob can be interesting. Dogged Pursuit gets us to where we want to go. Provoke the Trolls lets us have a finisher. These are some really hard decisions to me. So if you guys have thoughts, or put in the comments again what you would cut here, what you would do on these. I'm gonna have to just make some decisions and live with it. And we're gonna cut. I hate cutting the creatures, but I feel like they might be the weakest part of the deck. I want to keep open the Omen Paths just because I want to play with it and see. It may not be worth it, and it may be the right thing to cut. But I do want to be able to play with it. Putting in Carfell late with like a Cinderheart and the Hoggy Mob already would be two great plays. I want to play with the Demon Bolt. I don't have the Snowlands for the Frostbite to be good. So let's cut a Frostbite. I think Wither Crown's a better removal option. Oh, I am so tempted to just run this in as it is and just say, oh well. I know we probably need to cut like a Curder and a Village Rites or a Torment. Like, I know there's cuts we need to make, but I want to play with these cards, is why it's hard for me. Is I want to keep some cards that I know probably aren't as good as others, just like Omen Paths and Curders, just to be able to play with them and see how they actually work out for us. So we're going to have to, I think, cut a Carter's. We still have one left, and that's fine. And I think the right cut is open the Omen Paths, but like I said, I want to play with that, so I'm not going to cut it. No, I am going to cut it. We can draft another deck and play with it somewhere where it makes more sense, and we'll do that. So I think we're going to stick with this. This will be our deck, and we'll end here. We'll see you guys in the games. Again, like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel for updates and more videos, and then leave us any comments of how you would have drafted, or what we could have picked on some different picks, or what cuts you would have made on this deck. Until then, you guys have a good one.